Hi guys, welcome to the Little Miss Tony's Cooking Show from Bambino's in Merrill, Michigan. Today we are doing chicken and mushroom with white wine cream sauce. So we're gonna get started. We're gonna turn our pan on, let it get hot. We're gonna cook it on medium heat. We're gonna let it get warm for about a minute, and then we'll add some olive oil. We're gonna turn our water on for our noodles. This chicken here is 4-ounce chicken breast. So they're not real big. I like them a little bit thinner. We're gonna add a little bit of pepper to them. All right, and we'll get some olive oil in our pan. And let that get hot. All right, these are the ingredients you're gonna need today. I use 3 shallots, 5 mushrooms, a half dozen tomatoes, and a couple cloves of garlic. 1 cup of white wine, a cup and a half of heavy cream, pepper, basil, teaspoon. I use the parsley, I just scatter it on there, so that's your own judgment. I use a teaspoon of chicken base and some salt for the water. And Parmesan cheese, fresh grated. And today I'm using fettuccine noodles, fresh fettuccine noodles. You can use cheese ravioli, you can use regular spaghetti noodles. You can use anything you'd like to use underneath the cream sauce. At the restaurant, when I make it, I like to use cheese raviolis on Friday nights when I make it for the customers. So our pan is warm up. We're gonna stick our chicken breast in. You hear the little sizzle? That means the pan's hot. When the chicken breasts are thinner, it doesn't take as long for them to cook. This meal is pretty darn decadent. And it's a very good meal for a nice romantic evening. So, when you're cooking chicken and you're messing with chicken and you're messing with vegetables and fruits, never put the fruit and vegetables on top where you had your poultry. It causes botulism. So raw to cooked or raw to fresh, don't do it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip my cutting board over. I'm gonna get rid of these so that I don't use them again or use the tongs, touch them with anything. And we're gonna get our shallots, our mushrooms, and our tomatoes all cut up while we're waiting for our chicken to cook. The chicken's probably gonna take about 3 minutes on both sides, and then we're gonna let it rest. Chicken, when you're cooking it in the restaurant and at home, you should be cooking it up to 165. I like to cook it to about 160 and then put a piece of aluminum foil over it, let the meat rest. That brings the juice back into the meat so the meat's not so dry. And when I mean rest for at least 5-10 minutes. That's what you should do with all your meats that you're cooking. And we got a tough little shallot here. Shallots are just a baby onion. They're much sweeter. There we go. We'll get rid of these. All right. We're just gonna chop these up into little pieces. You can use, if you want, you can use a little chopper. If you'd like to, that cuts your vegetables up pretty easy too. I just like the knife practice. All right. See the little hump in my board actually stops everything from going all over the place. I see our chicken's cooking. All right, we got them chopped up. We're gonna chop up some fresh mushrooms. These are Bella mushrooms, portobello, babies. These are really meaty. Adding these to the sauce, I like, gives it a little more heartier taste. If you don't like mushrooms, you don't have to use them. You can put just about any vegetable into this dish. Put spinach, you can put some broccoli into it. This is just how I like to cook it. In the summertime when the farmers bring us fresh little cherry tomatoes, I love to use them and utilize them, so this is how I like to cook them on Fridays. All right, we got that cut up. And we're also gonna cut up our tomatoes. We're just gonna cut them in half. Make sure, guys, that like with your mushrooms, you're rinsing them. I rinse them. I don't just, a lot of people just use paper towels, but they have a lot of dirt on them. And they come from the ground, so I mean, it's good to have them all nice and cut up. This knife is not the greatest for this. Let's try cutting these cherry tomatoes up with a regular paring knife. All right, and we're gonna cut up our garlic. And as we're getting everything ready, it should be just about time to turn our chicken. Let's check it. All right, grab me a fork. Yeah, see how it peels from the bottom? If it doesn't want to come up like this, just give it another second and let it cook for another second. See, it's caught that end there. There you go. And then it'll flip easier. We're gonna use the browning from the bottom of the chicken anyways, so in this same pan, put our sauce on, our water on high. All right, we're gonna get our garlic chopped up. All right. Give it a mash. There we go. All right, guys. Let's check on our chicken again. Let's turn the heat down just a little bit. Our water is boiling. For our noodles, fresher noodles only take a few minutes to cook. Just put your salt in. Give it a little bit of olive oil. And let her come back up to a full boil. And our chicken's cooking. We're gonna get a plate out. What we're gonna do is we're gonna let it rest, like I said, so. There. It's getting there. See how that sticks? Just give it another second. That one's done. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna stick it into our bowl here. All right. All right, then we're gonna put the aluminum foil over it. We're gonna let that rest. While we're letting that rest, we're gonna make our sauce. So, to our pan, we're gonna add a little more olive oil. Not a lot, probably about a teaspoon. Right here is where we're gonna add our butter. See this fork? This fork was what we were using for our chicken. Put it away, don't use it. And grab a new one. All right. This is quite a bit of butter. This is about 1/4 of a cup of butter. And we got, this is boiling, so we can throw our noodles in. We're doing enough, I would say this is enough for 4 guys. All right. 4 And our butter's cooking here. While our butter is cooking, now we can add our shallots. See, it's so simple. You got everything all ready to go as your chicken's cooking. We're gonna let these get a little translucent and see the little brownness on the bottom of the pan. That's gonna come off once we add the wine. So then we add a little bit of garlic. Got it. I'll grab my stirrer now. I'm gonna let this come translucent, which means the shallots will turn like a clear color. All right, and let's stir our fettuccine noodles. These don't have to cook very long, a couple of minutes for the fettuccine noodles and they'll be ready. All right, well, we're letting it cook. I'm gonna give it a little bit of parsley. See, I just kind of scattered it on the top. It's not real heavy. All right, I'm gonna give it a good tablespoon of basil. And see, I'm not adding no more salt. I didn't add any salt at all to this. And I'll tell you why in just a second. All right, they're getting there, see? Now, we're gonna add our white wine. I'm gonna keep the heat on high here so the wine cooks into the shallots and the garlic and the parsley and the basil. And now I'm gonna add my mushrooms. See, this is only like 5 or 6 mushrooms, so it goes a long way. Stir it around. Oh, see, smells good already. Let's give our noodles another little stir. All right, well, that's cooking down. It's gonna reduce down by about half. I'm gonna get us some fresh grated Parmesan cheese ready for the recipe. Parmesan has a more mellower taste. It's great on spaghetti, it's great, but it's also great in cream sauces. There's a little rind on the end of it. Don't use that. You can use that in soup, but do not use it like in your sauce, in your stuff like this. Whoops, cheese going flying. All right, that might be enough. We shall see. How are we doing here? We're cooking down. The mushrooms are cooking up. I haven't added the tomatoes yet, but I am gonna add the chicken base. This is just a teaspoon of chicken base. I'm gonna take a fork, run it around. Remember all the brown stuff we had? She's not burning, she's cooking down. The chicken base is in. You know, it's really hard to do correct measurements all the time, but as long as you get the staples down or the main things that go in a dish, you can always improvise, you can always add more. If you're a real basil lover like I am, you'll put more basil in. So, this is almost ready for the cream. The noodles are ready. See, they floated to the top. We're gonna shut this off, and I'm gonna drain these, and I'll be right back. The noodles are rinsed. How's our sauce doing? Oh, brown and perfect. Time to add the cream. Like I said, this is 1.5 cups of cream. Add a little, the first little bit slowly. You don't want your cream curdling. We're gonna turn it down to medium so it doesn't. And then we'll add a little more cream. All right, time for the rest of it. All right, now we're gonna let this cook maybe about 5-10 minutes. The cream will get a little bit thicker. And while we're doing that, we've got our Parmesan done, we've got our tomatoes. We're gonna add these in. There we go. Give her a little stir. Oh, I'm gonna turn it down a little too much. All right. Now's the time when I like to take a little taste test. See if I have all the ingredients right. The little bit of chicken base, that's the key to this recipe, guys. You like chicken Alfredo sauce, you know, the creaminess, this has that. You like the richness of it, this has that. I think it's better though. That little bit of chicken base gives everything a better taste. So that's gonna cook down. We have our chicken that's rested. All right, I'm gonna pull it out for a second. See these juices that came back from the chicken? Right inside there. All right, we got our fresh cheese waiting. I don't think we'll need this extra, but you never know. Okay. You can still use the cutting board, guys. I'm gonna give it a quick little swipe, but you can use this cutting board as long as you don't use the side with the chicken. That had the raw chicken on it, I mean. All right. You can leave these whole, you can cut them up. I like to cut them up, I think it looks a little bit nicer. All right, so we'll get rid of this. And this. And let's get our chicken cut up into some strips. I gotta switch hands here. All right, let's check our sauce here for a minute. All right, she's nice and bubbly. I'm gonna turn her even lower. Tomatoes give it a beautiful taste. All right, let's finish cutting our chicken. I like to cut it up in strips, but this will serve 4. You can put it in one big bowl if you want, however you want to serve it. A little bit of bread, salad. This is pretty much its own meal in itself. It's pretty heavy. Not much healthy about this meal. All right, our chicken's all cut up. We can cover it back up for a second if you want to keep it warm. And let's check our sauce. Yeah. She's not going to reduce a whole lot at all. But let's get some Parmesan in there. The Parmesan will make it a little sticky, so you don't want to stick this into the very end. Like I said, this is a quick, fast recipe. All right, we'll let that cook for just a second. I'm going to get us some fettuccine. And I'm going to see if Mr. Fritzler would like to come in and try our dinner tonight. All right, I'm going to shut her off. I add just a little more Parmesan. I didn't add a whole lot, probably about a half a cup. Everything tastes better with Parmesan. All right. Give it a nice little stir. You can reduce this down even further if you want, guys, and let it get even thicker. But I like to stick it on top of my noodles. Grab a couple tomatoes, some mushrooms, grab my chicken, put this right on top, add a little more sauce. There you go. You can put a little more Parmesan on top if you want. There's that. And little romance of parsley. And let's see if Mr. Fritzler can come try this. Okay, Steve, you around? Well, we're waiting for him for a second. We added our chicken. So you can just pour this right over top the noodles. Hi, baby.
Nice.
Are you cold?
Yeah, it's plowing the restaurant out.
He's out plowing. This is Michigan.
What you got
Welcome
going
to
on?
wintertime. We had a ton of snow this week. This is chicken and mushroom with a white wine cream sauce
Oh my God.
over fettuccine noodles.
It's really good.
This is like the stuff I make at the restaurant with the ravioli. I'm gonna sneak and try this little piece.
Nice and hot too. Oh man.
Try it with the tomato. It's really good with the tomato on
Might
it.
just eat all this or?
No, you can eat it.
Right.
All right,
Great.
guys.
Thank you very much.
That takes care of our show for today. Chicken and mushroom with a white wine sauce, over top Alfredo, over top our fettuccine noodles, over top ravioli, whatever you choose to have it over top of. It is great. It will thicken up if you cook it a little bit more. And till next week, ciao, and thank you very much for watching our show.